We're here today with Aaron Prisbrey, the founder of the CAITS Institute. And to start off, what exactly does the CAITS Institute stand for?
Well, CAITS is an acronym, CAITS. It stands for Citizens Against Incumbent Tyrannical Servants. We came up with that about a week ago when we started the organization. We had another acronym. Well, it was the same acronym, but the last two letters were a little different, a little more aggressive, and based on some persuasion from our spouses, we decided to delete that because it was probably a little too over the top. But that's basically what it is.
So how did the idea for the CAITS Institute come about?
You know, it's really been something that has developed over the years. I'm an attorney. I've been practicing law here in St. George for almost 20 years. And I have had a lot of friends over the years that came to me and said, hey, can we do something about this tyrannical bully squad that Mayor MacArthur sends out to tell us how, when, and under what circumstances we can use our own property. And I've really not done much with it. My own father, he lived up in an area of town called Sandtowns where I grew up. And really until the day he died, he was harassed by these bullies. They would send him letters that would say, your pampas grass is too tall, your evergreen tree is too far out onto the sidewalk, your truck is not registered. He always seemed to get one for the grass in the yard being too tall. And the fear that was associated with these letters cannot be understated. Now, my dad was a tough guy, and he had colorful speech, and so he'd have conversations with these folks that I probably can't repeat. But ultimately what we would do, instead of trying to stop the nonsense, is me and my brothers, we would go to his yard, we would cut the grass, we'd make sure we get the truck registered, we would trim back the evergreen trees, the palm trees, always an issue with the palms being too ugly. And so somebody in their opinion decided that he was going to have to clean it up. So it's just a matter of getting fed up, I would say. I'm fed up, my friends are fed up with the deprivation of liberties that's going on in the country and here locally.
So more recently, as your friends have come to you and you've looked into this, what have you found out?
You know, I actually went to a hearing 4 days ago. And what I found out in that hearing was absolutely amazing. The first thing was the Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution has been suspended by St. George City. The code enforcement officers, if you want to call them that, they go out to citizens' properties, they walk on the property, they obtain evidence without a warrant. The Fourth Amendment prohibitions against illegal search and seizure are being circumvented, and not on occasion here or there. One of the code enforcement officers testified that he will do this up to 200 times per year. And he's not the only code enforcement officer. So we found that violation. Just the nature of the allegations against people. You can have a chicken, but you can't have a rooster. You can have a sign for a garage sale, but the sign has to be on a cardboard box placed in a certain spot. You can't have a dead spot in your grass. Just ridiculous. And also, what we found was the court system, if you want to call it that. I went down to court, and the judge was a state prosecutor, and that's who's hearing your case. So it's a kangaroo type setup, and you know, we were down there, and there were a couple of elderly ladies who were there. One of them was having difficulty getting out of her chair to take the oath before they did what it is they were going to do to her as far as the fines and the threats and the rest of the nonsense. So it's been somewhat disturbing to see what it is these guys have been up to.
So what are the specific goals you have for the CAITS Institute moving forward?
We have 3 goals. We're not a political organization. We don't skirt around the issues. And So the first goal we have is to remove Dan McCarthy from office. He has an election coming up. He's been there for 20 years. And these violations of individual liberties and property rights have taken place under his watch. So our first goal is to do everything we can under the First Amendment. What we're doing is we are going to assemble, use freedom of the press, freedom of speech, religion, freedom of religion, our right to redress grievances against the government. We're going to use those First Amendment rights to assist in him retiring from office because he needs to go. We will have rallies. We will have an entry in the parade that's coming up. And that is first and foremost. Second, and equally important, I guess, is the ordinances. We want the ordinances gone. The ordinances that tell you how long you can rent a house, who you can rent to, the type of animals you can have, what work you can do in your home. We want that stuff extricated from the system. We want it gone. And finally, this code enforcement department needs to go. They need to find work elsewhere. They can find a job for them within the city. They can give them a shovel and they can move along. But these bullies, they are the root of the problem.
Finally, what can people do if they want to help out and join the cause?
They need to move. They need to do something. There is we feel fear in this country right now. There's a lot of stuff that's going on in the country on a national level, and what we found out was some of the outrageous abuses that are taking place on a national level are taking place here locally. People have to be involved, and the fact of the matter is the old phrase that get out and vote. Well, that's not doing anything. That's not. People need to become involved, and they have to assert their First Amendment rights. What we're doing is we're giving people the vehicle to be heard. We put this organization together in 8 days. We have a board of 10 members, and they are motivated. And what we're about, the ordinances are just symptomatic of the greater problem that exists in our society. The problem that exists in our society is people asserting dominion over other people, telling them what it is they can do. And so we need people to stand up and say, we're not scared. We're not scared of you, and we are going to fight the fear brokers. That's what these guys are about. And so we need people to come forward and say, yeah, this is what happened to me. This was how they leaned my house. I lost my house. Tell us your story. People don't know this is going on. Certain people don't understand what's happening with the loss of liberty. So they can go to our website. They can tell us their story. And as we, the Constitution refers to we the people. And until we bond together and decide we're going to stop this tyranny, it's going to continue. So come forward, come out of the shadows, tell us your story.
All right, well, we thank you for your time.